Michigan finally broke through under Jim Harbaugh. The Wolverines finally beat Ohio State for the first time since 2011. They finally won the Big Ten, and they finally made the college football playoff before ultimately falling to the eventual national champions in Georgia. Expectations are once again extremely high in Ann Arbor, but the million-dollar question is whether or not the Wolverines can do it all over again. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys, ready to break down, analyze, predict Michigan's schedule and record for this upcoming college football season. A season, guys, where, again, Michigan will be in the hunt for a college football playoff spot. A lot of people don't want to believe that's going to be the case, but it is. You take a look at the numbers. Again, a Michigan team last year that went 12-2, won the Big Ten, made the college football playoff, 12-2. Numbers, again, brought to you by College Football Encyclopedia. The Wolverines returned 65% of their production last year, which means they rank 65th in the nation when it comes to that. So right around the middle of all FBS teams. When you look at the offense, guys, they rank 25th nationally. A lot of people dogged Michigan, said they don't have much of an offense at all, but they had a top 25 offense. And I think they kind of flew under the radar a little bit. The offense could be another strength this year. They have two capable quarterbacks in Cade McNamara, who was the starter for the majority of last year. Could be J.J. McCarthy, who's still in the hunt for that role. We're going to give the edge right now to McNamara. They have one of the better running backs within the conference in Blake Corum, and their wide receiver core pretty much returns intact, alongside Ronnie Bell, who hardly played at all last year. The offensive line is once again extremely solid, which Michigan's going to need to win those battles at the line of scrimmage. And the defense, guys, ranked 20th last year and should still be extremely solid despite losing so many key starters like Aiden Hutchinson, David Ojabo, and Josh Ross. Yes, everybody wants to harp on the losses that Michigan has, and those are key losses that will affect this team. But I do believe new defensive coordinator Jesse Minter is going to do just fine in Ann Arbor. The Wolverines still have a lot of talent on that side of the ball, and the defense, guys, when it's all said and done, is going to be the key in whether or not Michigan can still win the Big Ten and get back to the playoff, or if they fall just short. We take a look at their schedule, guys. Again, a Michigan team that is in the hunt for a Big Ten title, is in the hunt for the playoff. You look at their schedule, they are at home for the entire month of September. So how favorable is that? At home for the entire month of September, and we believe they start 3-0 just like that. 3-0 just like that. Colorado State, Hawaii, UConn, you couldn't have probably asked for an easier strength of schedule. The only way it would be easier if you had an FCS team in there. And some FCS teams, harder to beat than others. But 3-0 for them, and then they jump into conference play. First one's against Maryland. This is going to be Michigan's first true offensive test of the season, because those other three non-conference opponents aren't going to test that defense as much. But Maryland can. They have an electric passing attack led by Talia Tagovailoa. The defense is getting better under Mike Locksley, but this is still a Maryland team that fell to Michigan 59-18 last year. If Michigan can do that on the road last year, they can certainly defend their home turf now in the Big House and beat them. Maybe not 59-18, but a relatively similar score. I do believe Michigan wins this game handily. They're 4-0 heading into the really big test at Iowa on October 1st. This is a big one, guys. And this is where, I think a lot of people are going to see if Michigan's still legitimate. Because here's the thing. If Michigan wins this game, they're still going to be a top 10 team. If they lose, everybody's going to dog the Wolverines and go, I knew it. They weren't as good as we thought they were, which would be ridiculous if that's the case. Because the thing is, guys, we do believe Michigan loses this game. We do believe they fall to Iowa at Kinnick Stadium. This, of course, is a rematch of last year's Big Ten championship game. Michigan won that game 42-3. But now the game's at Kinnick. That was on a neutral site. The game's at Kinnick Stadium, which, as we all know, is one of the most difficult places to play in the country. I do believe that despite Michigan having a solid defense, Iowa's defense is going to be even better, especially in the secondary. This Iowa defense is solid. So Iowa owns the defensive edge. They own the home field advantage edge. The only way they don't own the edge is on offense, which I do believe Michigan owns. I believe this game is close, way closer than 42-3, but this is going to kind of show you how big an home field advantage plays for any team. Because, again, how can you say 39-point swing here? Again, different year, different teams, different players, different location. We like Iowa here to get the win at home behind the strength of their defense. In a game where I don't know if either team eclipses 20 to 24 points, Iowa gets the win, though. Michigan is 4-1. They should bounce back, though, with an easy win over Indiana. Yes, it is on the road, but the Hoosiers, guys, 2-10 last year. Michigan beat them 29-7. Shouldn't be any issues in Bloomington. Another issue could arise, though, on the 15th when they play Penn State. We have seen some classic battles between Penn State and Michigan in recent years. And that last year was no exception. Michigan, that was a trap game for many, went on the road to Happy Valley and beat Penn State 21-17. And obviously a loss there would have ruined everything for the Wolverines, but they battled through, got the win. You look at the numbers here, guys. Michigan has won 5 of the last 8 games against Penn State. They have won 3 of the last 4 in Ann Arbor. Only exception was a few years ago during COVID, where both teams just really weren't all that good and, take it for the grain of salt, considering the circumstances. The game, though, back in Ann Arbor, though, guys, home field advantage plays a major role. And for Penn State, I don't know if they have the offensive capability to exploit this Michigan defense. And again, we think it's going to be very, very solid. Penn State was 82nd or worse in the majority of the offensive categories last year, including red zone offense, scoring, total offense, and rushing. I don't think that's going to bode well against a solid Michigan team at home. So Michigan gets the win over Penn State. They've clinched bowl eligibility. They're 6-1 heading into their bye week before they take on Michigan State. This is going to be a fun one. This is one of the must-see games for me in 2022 because both teams at this point in the year will probably be top 20, probably top 15 teams in the country, assuming Michigan State lives up to their billing. Last year, the Spartans came back down 30-14, so Michigan blew a 30-14 lead and lost to the Spartans 37-33. Kenneth Walker from Michigan State had 197 rushing yards and 5 rushing touchdowns. It was unbelievable. But Kenneth Walker is no longer there. The game now is in Ann Arbor. Michigan State too, but Michigan is coming off a week of rest. And Michigan has revenge on their mind. Michigan probably should have won the game last year. You're up by 16 points in the third quarter. It was a complete meltdown. Couldn't close it out. With revenge on their mind, with Michigan State dealing with a handful of different key players gone, especially defensively, they're going to have to work out a few things. I think Michigan is able to overcome the loss from last year, overcome a solid Michigan State offense, and win this game at home. I genuinely believe that. Revenge is a big thing for a lot of teams, especially in rivalry games. They beat Michigan State. They beat Rutgers. Last year, Rutgers hung with them 20-13 in Ann Arbor. So the game now being on the road could be viewed as a trap game if you want it to be because Rutgers is getting better. But I still think Michigan is way, way, way the better team. So Michigan gets that win there. And then they close out the last 3 weeks with some interesting games against Nebraska, Illinois, and Ohio State, none of which they can overlook. Nebraska. They beat the Cornhuskers 32-29 last year. I think for Michigan, it's a really good thing they're getting this game at home and not in Lincoln. If this game was at Nebraska, I might be picking Nebraska to win this game. Genuinely, I might. Because I believe the Cornhuskers are going to be a lot better this year. Casey Thompson, dangerous dual threat quarterback, transfers in from Texas. The defense is improving. Home field advantage at Nebraska is no joke. Mark Whipple is in as offensive coordinator, should drastically improve the Cornhuskers offense. This team is better, guys. The best 3-9 team in history from last year should hopefully go bowling in 2022. And I think they will hang with Michigan for a while at the Big House on November 12th, just like they nearly beat Michigan last year in Nebraska. But ultimately, Michigan's defense is what will be the difference maker here. They will force a late turnover or a handful of turnovers off of Casey Thompson, shut down this Nebraska team in the late fourth quarter, get the win in a game that's probably going to be a little bit more competitive than some would think. They beat Nebraska. We do think they're going to beat Illinois. The game at home, senior night, I don't see how Michigan can lose this game. You don't want to speak anything crazy into existence, but this is an Illinois team that's getting better under Brett Bielema, but still not really there, in my opinion, to hang with the big boys yet. And again, with that game at home, senior night for Michigan, they should get the win, which is going to set up a winner-take-all against Ohio State on November 26th. This is the game that we always want to see at the end of the year. And then we always like it when the stakes are high between Michigan and Ohio State. And just like last year, they will be this year. This game will determine who wins the Big Ten East. This game will determine who wins the division, who gets to the Big Ten championship, and obviously the winner of that Big Ten championship, if Ohio State or Michigan were to win it, would go to the college football playoff. So basically, a playoff berth potentially is at stake on November 26th in the game in Columbus. What's going to happen? Last year, Michigan won 42-27 over Ohio State. Their first win over the Buckeyes since 2011. Their first win over Ohio State under Jim Harbaugh. So Michigan now has broken the curse. They know it is possible for them to beat Ohio State. It's not a mind game anymore. They can do it. They just did it. Can they do it again? The answer is no. Ohio State will have the best offense in the country, guys. No doubt about it. And we talked earlier about revenge. Michigan wanting revenge over Michigan State is a crazy thing for you. Extra motivation. Ohio State is going to be out for revenge over Michigan. Extra motivation, as if there's not enough already with the stakes. Extra motivation to get revenge over the loss from last year. In addition to that, the game is in Columbus. I don't think Michigan can take it, guys. Home field advantage played a major role in last year's victory. Just like this year, it will play a major role for Ohio State in their victory. So Michigan, guys, I do think falls to Ohio State. The Buckeyes simply are too good, and if you want to harp on their defense and how bad they were, I think Jim Knowles is going to fix that, and he's going to have it fixed by the season finale. And with that loss, guys, Michigan will finish the year at 10-2. 10-2. And so some will view that as a disappointment, but if I'm a Michigan fan, I'm not. 10-2 in the hunt for a chance to get back to the Big Ten championship game. They fall just short, but that will get them back to a New Year's Six bowl game. If you win that, that's another, obviously clinch another double-digit win season, but you finally win another big game in your bowl game, that's an 11-win season. 23 wins in the span of 2 years. If that happens for the Wolverines, you gotta be happy with it. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Make sure to take a look at those guys, some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.